This is your What's Up Caribbean newscast for Tuesday, February 24th, 2015. In the headlines, search on for weapons used to kill State Prosecutor Dana Sitahal in Trinidad. Belize billion-dollar budget to be read on Friday, March 13th. And we hear from Wasco of futile efforts for sewage plant in St. Lucia. In sports, Chris Gayle smashed home the highest individual innings in World Cup history with a magnificent double century for West Indies. The details to these and other stories straight ahead.
Turbo charge. Dirty life. Turbo charge. Boom. The fed start. The place mad. One flash of rum. Me head gone. Fall in the fed like raindrops. So when I lead, you follow me. Lord. As I reach the fed, I jump it up. Any girl I hold, I walk it on. Don't come and tell me the party done, cause I come in here to play bass. Cause right now me, turbo, boom, charge. Right now me, turbo, charge. Right now me, turbo.
In news out of Belize, the new national budget for the fiscal year 2015-2016 is due to be read on Friday, March 13th. That's the week after the municipal elections are held. Deputy Financial Secretary Mario Palacio said that their team is still working on putting together the numbers for the budget that will exceed $1 billion. Reports are that the performance for the current budget year is being impacted by a number of factors, including large capital outlays from central government for works in the various towns and cities, as well as the salary adjustments implemented for teachers and public officers during the course of the budget year. Unapproved additional expenses will be summarized in supplementary appropriation bills that will either accompany the new budget or will be tabled after the current fiscal year closes. Over to Trinidad, the team of specially selected officers assigned to probe the murder of State Prosecutor Dana Sitahal has intensified their search for the weapon used in the murder. The police team now has confirmation that the weapon is a high-caliber gun based on ballistic testing and information received from various video footage and other sources, and they believe the weapon is still in circulation in that country. Yesterday, Acting Police Commissioner Stephen Williams issued a press release expressing concern about media reports surrounding the investigation. In the release, he noted, the reports are inconsistent with the progress of the investigation thus far and manifest obvious distortions with material facts of the case. Sitahal was found dead of gunshot wounds in her SUV on May 4, 2014. The top U.S. diplomat for Latin America expressed concern Monday about what she termed the violent silencing of dissidents in Cuba days before the resumption of U.S.-Cuba talks. Roberta Jacobson, who last month led the first negotiations on restoring diplomatic ties between Washington and Havana after decades in the deep freeze, tweeted, concerned about violent silencing of peaceful voices for change in Cuba. On Sunday, the dissident group Patriotic Union of Cuba said more than 200 opponents of Cuba's communist government were arrested, including in the capital Havana, before being released a few hours later. The group warned of an increase in arrest, beatings, and harassment of dissidents. Finally, news out of St. Lucia, the Water and Sewage Commission WASCO has announced plans to develop a centralized sewage treatment plant expected to decontaminate the raw sewage pumped daily into the Castries Harbor. WASCO Managing Director Vincent Hippolyte says funding for the treatment plant has been difficult. He says prior consultations with waste management firms have not produced significant progress.
In 2011-2012, there was a major study that was done on the Castries Harbor by Smith and Warner, and that study resulted in several sites being looked at for the installation of a treatment plant to treat the water that comes from the sewer plant in Castries and around Castries, and to put it in a position to be discharged out in the B. There were lots of issues, and there was never any decision and conclusion on it because certain requirements could not have been met easily. The whole Castries redevelopment hinges on this situation there, because raw sewage is not being treated and it ends up in the bay there. So something needs to be done. To treat it is expensive because you would have to invest in a plant. To have a plant, you must know where you're going to site the plant. To site the plant, you must take into consideration the circumstances in the environment and airport.
That was Wasco's Managing Director, Vincent Hiblet, bringing on the curtains on news. Up next, to look at sports. In sports, West Indies opener Chris Gayle became the first batsman to score a double century in a World Cup innings when he reached the landmark against Zimbabwe in a Pool B clash in Canberra on Tuesday. Gayle, who might have been given out LBW before he had scored, brought up his first double century in 226 one-day internationals off just 138 balls, including 9 fours and 16 sixes. The 35-year-old Jamaica left-hander's innings surpassed the previous World Cup best of 188 not out by South Africa's Gary Kirsten against the United Arab Emirates at Rawalpindi in 1996. That was a look at sports. A recap of the headlines straight ahead.
Turbocharge. Dirty life. Turbocharge. Boom. The fed start. The place mad. One flash of rum. My head gone. Fall in the fed like raindrops. So when I lead, you follow me. Lord. As I reach the fed, I jump it up. Any girl I hold, I walk it up. Don't come and tell me the party done. Cause I come in here to play bass. Cause right now me, turbo, boom, charge. Right now me, turbo, charge. Right now me, turbo.
Recapping the headlines making news. Search on for weapons used to kill state prosecutor Dana Sitahal in Trinidad. Belize $1 billion budget to be read on Friday, March 13th, 2015. And futile efforts for sewage plant in St. Lucia. In sports, Chris Gayle smashed home the highest individual innings in World Cup history with a magnificent double century for the West Indies. Remember, for the latest in news, sports and other regional developments, log on to WhatsAppCaribbean.com, like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. This was a Carib Fair production. Thanks for joining us.